Hello guys and girls, and welcome to our first NTI day of the year. In true Miss Dangerfield fashion, I decided that for our NTI assignment today, I would make a video for you guys. And so, as the directions say here on the screen, we're going to go through some slides that go over active and passive voice. And then at the end of this video today, there are going to be 10 questions that you are going to be answering. I will go ahead and tell you up front that the 10 questions at the end of this are going to be for a grade. However, since this is an ed puzzle, I can always reset it for you. So if you get to the end of the slides today and you answer those 10 questions at the end and you are not happy with your score, just send me an email, let me know, and I will gladly reset this for you so that you can redo it for a higher grade. Like I said just a second ago, we are talking about active and passive voice today. This is something that we have talked about in class. We actually talked about it last Monday, and these slides are going to look pretty familiar because a lot of these are the exact same slides that we completed together in class last week when we talked about active and passive voice. So let's go ahead and jump in and get started. When we spoke in class about active and passive voice, I told you all about these two key vocabulary words that we have to know in order to be able to identify if a sentence is written in active voice or if it's written in passive voice. So quickly, we are going to go over these two key terms. The first one is subject. Remember, subject tells who or what the sentence is about. So in our example sentence that you see on the screen, it says the zombie ate the brains. Zombie is the subject because it is what the sentence is about. Also, another key term is verb. Verbs are action words, and in this instance, we're talking about the action that is performed by the subject. So if we look at our example sentence again, the zombie ate the brains, we already decided that zombie was the subject because it's what the sentence is about. When we're trying to figure out the verb in the sentence, we need to ask ourselves, what did the zombie do? And the answer, of course, is ate. Ate the brains. Ate is an action. It's something that you do, so it is a verb. Just keep these two words in your mind moving forward. Subject, who or what the sentence is about. Verb is the action performed by the subject. Okay, so typically in reading, writing, speaking, we use active voice. In active voice, the subject performs the action of the verb. So in our example sentence that we see on the screen here, the dog barked at the mailman. First thing we have to do is ask ourselves, what is the verb? What is the action that's taking place in this sentence? The correct answer is barked. Next, we have to ask ourselves, who or what is barking? Is the dog barking? Or is the mailman barking? Hopefully you can tell me pretty clearly that the dog is the one barking. The dog is performing the action of the verb. Since the subject, the one performing the action, is at the beginning of the sentence, we know that this sentence is written in active voice. Here's another example. The new teacher introduced exciting and stimulating technology to the class. This is also a sentence that is written in active voice. Remember, when you are trying to decide if a sentence is written in active or passive voice, the first thing you need to do is find the verb. What is the action? In this sentence, the action is introduced. Introducing new technology. So then we have to ask ourselves, who is introducing it? Is the teacher introducing the technology, or is the class introducing the technology? The correct answer is the teacher is the one that's introducing the new technology. Since teacher is before the verb, introduced, then this sentence is written in active voice. The subject is performing the action. Now let's switch gears and talk about passive voice for just a second. In passive voice, we switch things around so that the recipient has something done to it by the agent. That sounds complicated, but I promise it's actually very easy. The mailman was barked at by the dog. So this is like the sentence we had earlier, but it's rearranged just a little bit. Remember before, the sentence says the dog barked at the mailman, but now it says the mailman was barked at by the dog. So just like when we were talking about active voice, in passive voice, the first thing you have to do is find the verb, the action that is taking place. In this sentence, the verb is barked. So we have to ask ourselves, who is doing the barking? Is the mailman barking or is the dog barking? The dog is barking. Dog is after the verb. It's at the end of the sentence, so this is in passive voice. Remember keywords with passive voice. If you see was or were or by in a sentence, like we see was barked at by the dog, that's a big clue that the sentence is written in passive voice. Here's another example. The stroller was pushed by the mother. First thing we have to do is find the verb. What is the action word? Pushed is the action that's taking place. So we have to ask ourselves, who is pushing? The mother or something else? In this case, the mother is the one that's pushing. Mother is after the verb. See, mother comes at the end of the sentence. Pushed is before that in the sentence. So this is passive voice. And again, we have that keyword was and by. So we talked about this in class. A little trick that we can use to figure out if a sentence is written in active or passive voice is to add by zombies at the end of the sentence. If it makes sense when you add by zombies at the end, then you know that the sentence is written in passive voice. So for example, the child was chased. We could add by zombies at the end. That would make sense. The child was chased by zombies. So that tells us that this sentence is written in passive voice. Here are some steps that you can follow to figure out if a sentence is active or passive. Number one, we talked about this throughout the video today. Find the verb first. Find the action word. Number two, find the person or the thing that is performing the action of the verb. So who or what is performing the action? Number three, if that person or thing is at the beginning of the sentence before the verb, then the sentence is active. And then number four, if that person or thing is at the end of the sentence, or if it's not mentioned at all who is performing the action, then the sentence is passive. So here's where we're going to get into our practice questions. Again, these are going to be for a grade. And like I said earlier, if you go through this and maybe you don't score the score that you would like to this first time through, just send me an email and I will gladly reset so that you can redo this for a higher grade. Number one, the remote was dropped on the floor. Tell me, do you think that sentence is active or passive? Go ahead and choose your answer now. Number one is passive. We could use our little trick, by zombies, and it would make sense. The remote was dropped on the floor by zombies. So that is passive voice. Number two, all of the laundry was folded. Active or passive? Number two is also passive. We could add by zombies at the end and it would make sense. All of the laundry was folded by zombies. That sentence is passive. Number three, I'll fix dinner. Do you think this sentence is active or passive? Number three is active. We can look for the verb. The verb is fix. The person performing the action, we don't have their name, but it says owl, and that is before the verb, so that sentence is active. Number four, Jonathan kicked the ball. Do you think that sentence is active or passive? Number four is active. The verb is kicked. We have to ask ourselves who kicked the ball. It was Jonathan, which is before the verb. So that is an active sentence. Number five, the bookshelves were dusted. Active or passive? Number five is passive. This is another one where we could add by zombies at the end and it would make sense. The bookshelves were dusted by zombies. So that is passive. Number six, my dog was taken on a walk. Do you think number six is active or passive? Go ahead and choose your answer. Number six is another one that is passive. Again, we could add by zombies at the end. My dog was taken on a walk by zombies. So that is passive. Number seven, the basketball team lifted weights. Active or passive? Number seven is active. Lifted weights is our verb here. We ask ourselves who was lifting weights. It was the basketball team. It is before the verb, so that sentence is active. Number eight, Jan ate ice cream. Active or passive? Number eight is another one that is active. Ate is our verb. We need to ask ourselves who ate the ice cream. It was Jan. Jan is before the verb, so this sentence is active. Number nine, the papers were written. Active or passive? Number 9 is passive. We could add by zombies at the end. The papers were written by zombies. That would make sense. So number 9 is passive. And number 10, Dylan's mother blew him a kiss. Active or passive? Our final one, number 10, is active. Blew a kiss. Blew is our verb. We have to ask ourselves who blew that kiss. It was the mother. That is before the verb blew. And so number 10 is active. Again, I know I've said this several times. Once you get through with this, if you're not happy with your score, let me know. I'll reset it. If not, I'll get your score recorded for you today, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. See ya.